Today we are dining with Ruth Snyder, and this is her last meal. Ruth Snyder was convicted of the murder of her husband Albert and executed in the state of New York in 1928 by electrocution. But let's start at the beginning. Shortly after leaving school, Ruth got a job at the telephone company, where one small accident would completely change the course of her life. In 1915, Ruth innocuously dialed the wrong number and was accidentally connected to 32-year-old Albert Snyder, artist and editor of Motor Boating magazine. The pair married and settled into a modest house in Queens. The papers would later refer to Ruth's life at this point by saying she had a house of her own, an automobile, a radio, good furniture, money in the bank, protection, and an athlete for a husband. Traditional athlete he was not, but Albert did have a fondness for boating activities and subsequently had a very impressive tan. But he wasn't tan enough to keep Ruth's attention, and that same year she began an extramarital relationship with Henry Judd Gray, a married corset salesman. Shortly after she began the affair with Gray, Ruth began planning the murder of her husband Albert. Ruth secured a $48,000 policy on Albert's life, complete with a double indemnity clause, which paid extra if an unexpected act of violence killed the policyholder. Step 2 was killing Albert. According to Ruth's lover Gray, Ruth tried to kill Albert 7 times and failed. On March 20th, 1927, Ruth and Gray strangled Albert to death with picture wire, stuffed his nose and mouth with chloroform-soaked rags, beat him, and then tried to stage his death to look like part of a burglary, which they did really poorly. It didn't take detectives long to realize that there was very little evidence to support that a burglary had taken place. During interrogation, Gray spilled the beans on the whole plan, and both he and Ruth were arrested and charged with the murder of Albert Snyder. Ruth's attorney tried to distance Ruth from Gray, while his attorney tried harder than ever to tie the cases together, as he was trying to avoid the death penalty and doubted that a woman would be sentenced to death. He was super wrong, and both were convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death on May 9, 1927. On January 12, 1928, Ruth became the third woman in New York state history to be executed. After an agonizing full 2 minutes of electrical current ran through her body, ruthless Ruth Snyder was pronounced dead at 11:14 p.m. She asked for chicken parmesan with fettuccine alfredo, chocolate ice cream, 2 milkshakes, and 12 grape sodas as her last meal.